So yeah, to work as a user, so we'll just go ahead and run the program real quick. So you can log in or create an account. In this case, I'll create a student account here. Just name with my name and just a fake email account. Password, fantastic name. So now we're entering all of the information for our resume. 2023 is actually what we need. Education, University of South Carolina. Major, so this is one of the things you can search for, information science, information technology there, and so that way we can group them all together. This is actually GPA. So then we can just enter all that data from the Python, and then yes, we want to enter more. Java, yes. JavaScript, yes. Let's go through that it was HTML and CSS. And then no, we're done entering skills. So for the experiences, we're going to enter just an experience. Would you like to enter another experience? Yes. So then I'll grab the other experience from the project description. And then now we're done entering experiences. So now we can save the resume to file. And then it'll pop up here. We can see that out listed like that in our exports folder. And then we can search jobs, so we can search for JavaScript. And it shows us the jobs available. So here we have JavaScript developer, and we can apply to a job by pressing 4, and then entering the job we want to apply to. Script developer. And then after that, we can log out. 7 is log out, and then I'm going to check the accounts real quick. So they've populated, but I do need to know who the that accounts, what the password is for their account. I think it's test company, yes. Alright, so then we'll rerun the program as we'll log into the test company account. So that's going to be test company at spammail.com. Password is going to be password is secure. We're going to go ahead and view applicants to a job listing, and then that JavaScript developer, look at that one. So yeah, there's a couple of people who had done this, and I've done this a couple times. So I've got a couple people. So we got Bobby, we've got old Kyler, and then the new Kyler. So yeah, that's it, and then we can log out and good to go.
So this is an overview of our project. It's our UML, which shows how all of our classes interact with each other to produce the final product. We'll start by focusing in on the interface manager. So our driver would call the get instance class of our interface manager, as it is a singleton for when each person is running the software. We only want one interface manager to exist at a time. And the interface manager, we go over to the code here, operates mostly out of the main interface class, and through this switch statement allows the 3 different account types, student, admin, and employer, to execute different functions and methods that are visible in our interface manager class. Then we go down to the database manager, which is also a singleton and has an instance of the interface manager. And we see that the database manager handles mostly the data writer and the data loader. And on the UML, these are left empty to represent that there's a lot of getters and setters, but all the variables should be represented well. The database manager controls what is written and read from the JSON files, the user JSON, jobs JSON, and resumes JSON. When we look at the code for the database manager, we see that it is also a singleton, as we have this get instance class and a database manager public static variable. This just, as I was saying, handles what is written to and from the JSON. As when you log out from the interface manager, everything that was altered in the database manager is saved to the JSON files for this project. And how these methods are implemented is mainly handled by our resumes class, our jobs class, and our accounts class.
The database manager directly calls the resume and job script classes. For the resume, it just has the string name, graduation date, majors, which is the majors will call the enum majors file, and an array list for experiences and skills. If we go to the actual resume, the user will it'll set everything, all of the names and the graduation dates. The actual user will be able to add their experiences or remove them from the resume. They'll be able to add skills and their majors, and that'll save to the database. Then there's the other thing that database calls is the job. The job has the actual whether or not it's visible or available, the job title and the description that will write to the database. It has a bunch of getters and setters for all the variables inside of it, and then you can add or remove applicants from it, which will call the student when they do that. It'll see the posting employer and see if it contains certain words for the actual search. And then it will write this all to the database manager. The resume calls the resumes file, which just helps with actually saving the resume with UUID to the JSON, and this actually handles the actual JSON. Jobs is the exact same, but for the job rather than the resume. It just helps the actual job class to write to the JSON. And both of these are called by the student and employer class, respectfully.
The interface manager calls accounts, which is an array list of the interface account, and it pretty much calls the data loader and saves account info. Account is the interface we use to be implemented by admin, student, and employer. So admin is the person who pretty much oversees the whole website, the whole application, and they have an email, password, and unique identifier. It pretty much returns the variables and has some setters and getters. And then the student is very similar to admin, except it also has some student-specific things like documents, ratings, and it also calls resume. And finally, employer is also similar to student, but instead of resumes, it calls posted jobs. And it has a company name, website, and description, and some other setters and getters that would be specific to an employer. Student would call the resume class, and employer would call the job class.